When I first opened the ancient codex hidden in the forgotten corners of our town's dusty library, I never imagined it would lead us on a perilous journey to uncover the lost secrets of the Aztec gods. But with each turn of the brittle pages, we found ourselves drawn deeper into a legend that could rewrite history, or destroy us all. The Codex of the Fifth Sun, that was where it all began. My life up until that point had been relatively quiet, nestled in a small town on the edge of the Valley of Mexico. I had always been drawn to the cozy, overlooked corners of the town's old library, where ancient books, dusty maps, and mysterious artifacts were hidden from the world. It was there, in one such forgotten chest, that I found it, the codex that would change everything. I remember the exact moment I uncovered that old, worn book. My hands trembled with excitement as I dusted it off and carefully opened its brittle pages. The codex was unlike anything I had ever seen before, an ancient Aztec manuscript, filled with strange symbols, vivid illustrations of gods and beasts, and most intriguingly, clues about a hidden city lost to time. This is no ordinary book, I whispered to myself, my heart racing with a mix of awe and anticipation. I knew I had stumbled upon something extraordinary, something that could unlock secrets long forgotten. Unable to keep my discovery to myself, I quickly called my closest friends, Sofia, Diego, Elena, and Marco, to join me at the library. Sofia was the first to arrive, her fiery red hair and adventurous spirit as vibrant as ever. "What's all this about, Mateo? You look like you found buried treasure," she exclaimed, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. I could hardly contain my excitement as I showed them the codex. "You won't believe what I've found. This is an Aztec codex, and it's like nothing I've ever seen before. It talks about the 5 suns, the different eras of the world according to Aztec legends. But that's not all. There's a hidden city mentioned in these pages, a city that holds the key to understanding the legend of the 5 suns." Diego, always the thoughtful one, leaned in closer to examine the book. His dark, steady eyes scanned the pages with a mix of curiosity and caution. "A hidden city? The 5 suns are part of a very old legend, Mateo. Each sun represents a different age of the world, and each one ended in a great disaster. If this codex is real, it could hold secrets that were never meant to be uncovered." Elena, our group's puzzle solver, was already deep into decoding the strange symbols on the pages. Her sharp eyes darted over the intricate patterns, her mind working faster than ever. "Look at this," she said, pointing to an elaborate illustration. "It shows a city surrounded by mountains and forests. The codex says something about a hidden city that can only be found by those who understand the secrets of the 5 suns. These riddles might lead us there." I nodded, my mind racing with the possibilities. The 5 suns represent different times in history, each ending in a catastrophe. The codex hints that the hidden city might hold the answers to these cycles of creation and destruction. If we can find this city, we might learn something that could change the way we understand the world. Marco, the youngest and most fearless of us all, stood at the back with his arms crossed, a mischievous grin on his face. "So, what's the plan?" Sophia's adventurous spirit was already ignited. "The plan is simple, we follow the clues, find the hidden city, and uncover the secrets of the 5 suns. Who's with me?" There was a moment of silence as we all considered the risks. But the pull of the unknown was too strong to resist. One by one, we nodded in agreement. "We're with you," Diego said firmly. "But we must be careful. The codex mentions powerful gods like Tezcatlipoca, the god of night and sorcery, and Tonatiuh, the sun god. This journey won't be easy." With our decision made, we began to prepare for the adventure ahead. We packed our bags with supplies, food, water, maps, and tools, everything we thought we would need for the journey into the unknown. I made sure to bring the codex. Sophia packed her climbing gear, Diego wore a sacred charm necklace, Elena carried her notebook filled with sketches and notes, and Marco held onto a sturdy walking stick that could double as a weapon if needed. The next morning, we set out early, just as the first rays of the sun peeked over the mountains. The Valley of Mexico stretched out before us, a vast landscape of green hills, towering mountains, and ancient ruins hidden beneath the foliage. The air was fresh, filled with the scent of earth and leaves, and the call of distant birds echoed through the valley. Our first destination was the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest and most ancient structures in the valley. According to the codex, the first clue would be found at the top of this pyramid. As we approached, its massive stone steps seemed to rise endlessly toward the sky. We stood at the base, craning our necks to see the top, which was shrouded in morning mist. "This is it," I said, my voice filled with anticipation. "The codex says we need to find the place where the sun meets the earth. That must be the top of the pyramid." Without hesitation, Sophia began to climb, and the rest of us followed, our hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. The climb was difficult, the steps were uneven and worn by centuries of weather and use, but we pressed on, determined to reach the top. When we finally reached the summit, the sun was beginning to rise, casting a warm, golden glow over the pyramid. We gathered at the top, our eyes scanning the stone platform for any signs of the clue we were searching for. But all we found was an empty stone surface, smooth and featureless. "Maybe we missed something," Sophia said, her brow furrowed in thought. "Or maybe there's more to the riddle than we realize." Elena was already on her hands and knees, inspecting every inch of the stone. "The codex said something about the sun meeting the earth. Maybe it's a symbol or a pattern we need to look for." As we puzzled over the riddle, the sun continued to rise, its light growing brighter and warmer. Suddenly, I noticed something strange. "Look! The light! It's creating a pattern on the stone." Sure enough, the sunlight was casting a series of intricate patterns on the surface of the platform. The patterns were faint at first, but as the sun climbed higher in the sky, they became more defined, forming a complex web of symbols that mirrored the illustrations in the codex. "It's the clue!" Elena exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. "The light is revealing the hidden message." I quickly pulled out the codex, comparing the patterns on the stone with the illustrations in the book. "It's a map. These symbols form a map that will lead us to the next clue." But just as we were beginning to decipher the map, a shadow fell over the platform, blocking out the sunlight. We looked up, startled to see a tall, dark figure standing at the edge of the platform. He was cloaked in darkness, his face hidden in the shadows, but his eyes glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light. "Who dares to disturb the sacred grounds of Tezcatlipoca?" The figure's voice echoed through the air, deep and menacing. We froze in fear, our hearts pounding in our chests. The figure stepped forward, revealing himself as Tezcatlipoca, the god of night and sorcery. His presence filled the air with a sense of power and danger, and I could feel the weight of his gaze as he studied us. Diego, ever the calm one, stepped forward. His voice was steady, though I knew his heart was racing. "We seek knowledge, not power. We wish to understand the cycles of the world and protect the future. We mean no harm." Tezcatlipoca studied us for a long moment, his eyes piercing through the silence. Finally, he nodded slowly. "Very well. You may continue your journey. But know this, the path you have chosen is not an easy one. You must face the trials of the gods. Only then will you find the hidden city." With that, Tezcatlipoca raised his mirror, and we were suddenly engulfed in a swirl of darkness. The world around us dissolved into shadows, and I felt as though we were being pulled into another realm, a place where time and space had no meaning. When the darkness finally cleared, we found ourselves standing at the base of the pyramid once again, as if the encounter with the god had been nothing but a dream. But the sun was now high in the sky, and the map we had deciphered was still fresh in our minds. "The first trial has begun," I said quietly, my voice filled with determination. "We have to be brave, wise, and united if we're going to succeed." We exchanged determined glances, knowing that our journey was far from over. The challenges ahead would test our courage and our friendship, but we were ready to face whatever came our way. As we set off toward the next destination on the map, the Valley of Mexico seemed to come alive with new mysteries and dangers. The path before us was uncertain, but the bond we shared gave us strength. Together, we would uncover the secrets of the fifth sun, no matter what trials awaited us. Our journey took us deep into the heart of the valley, through dense forests and across rocky hills.